getting updates coming from that part of the country as the conflict rages on. Recent news updates indicate some 4 individuals dead in the Gbenyiri camp, including a 90-year-old as well as a teenage girl. Very shortly, we'll be joined by our Northern Regional correspondent to get an update on what exactly is happening in the area. Now, closely tied to that is the issue of education. Some 85 basic schools in the Sola Tuna Kalba district and 44 in the Bole district did not record single attendance due to the conflict. And this conflict certainly biting the vulnerable. I'm talking about women and children. We also know that over 20,000 school children in the Sola and Bole districts are out of school as a result of this unfortunate conflict. This information provided by the Ghana Education Service. And hopefully we can also get a bite from the GES on what this means for the future of our young ones in the area. Now, you know that school resumed on September 2nd. Again, due to the conflict, attendance is non-existent.
Just the other day, I forward down my
3FM Sunrise.
Now he go check Ronnie, I scrub some clothes. As she spoke up her herb in her little chalk pipe, she said, sure, not even the soap nor soda again. Because tribal war can't solve the problem. My God, tribal war.
3FM Sunrise.
Tribal war can't solve
Now, you recall the last time we spoke with Christopher Amako.
war. Can't solve it at all. I want you to listen up, man.
He said that this has turned into a humanitarian crisis. Many of the victims are children and women. Some are unable to cope with the challenges of the new environment. Many have sustained injuries while fleeing the conflict,
Our ladies walk
and some had pre-existing health conditions that have worsened since they arrived.
They say they are not getting any justice.
Let's connect now with Christopher and get some more details. Christopher, hello, good morning. Hope you're well.
Good morning. I'm doing good.
Thank you so much for joining us on the program. And we're back again this morning talking about the Gbenyiri conflict, as we know that things seem to have escalated. People are dying. The women and children are still very much vulnerable. Since the last time that we spoke, and you talked about various individuals at the police station looking for shelter, looking for food, looking for water, it had become quite the humanitarian crisis. What is the update since that time?
Yes, so Ellen, now the issue has to do with the education of the children who have been displaced and at the Sola and Bonkoro camps. Now, we do know that over 20,000 school children have been affected in this conflict in the Sola and Bole district. Now, in the Sola district alone, over 15,000 children out of 85 schools have been affected. Now, out of the over 128 or so schools in the Sola district, 85 of them, as we speak, have been closed down. Teachers are nowhere to be found. The children are also nowhere to be found. They are not in their communities to even attend these schools. Now, if you go to the Bole area, also out of over 120-something schools, 44 of them have been closed down. And these 44 are categorized into 5 sections. And so if you go to these sections, you will not find a teacher, you will not find a pupil in the schools. And so this has raised several concerns among stakeholders, especially those in the education sector. Fortunately, for these school children. UNICEF has provided some materials for what they describe as education emergency. So these children in these camps will be given some tuition while at the camp. The GES is also facilitating to get some teachers to reassign them to the camps so that they can take this children. But the unfortunate issue is that they cannot be segregated into their various grades or levels, and so because it's emergency education emergency, they are just going to be taking them through normal daily routine and also issues that has to do with how the education system is run, and that is the only challenge now. Apart from that, the numbers as well, because what UNICEF is providing can only take care of 200 pupils at a go. And so what happens to the remaining? So the GES directorate, including the other stakeholders like the assembly and others, are saying that the intervention is something that will help them, but they still need more of that so that they can cater for the numbers of children who have been affected.
Certainly, Christopher. So reiterate for us then, are there are now, is it temporary learning centers that have been set up for displaced students?
Yes, there are temporary learning centers, which are, in fact, the materials are available at the Bole and the Solar districts. If you go to the Solar district, they are going to set it up at the Solar camp. If you go to the Bole district, they are taking it to Bonkoro in the Côte d'Ivoire area. So that they can set this up. But that is yet to be done. In Solar, we are hearing that will be done today or tomorrow. But with the Bonkoro, because they will have to transport the items from Bole to Bonkoro, they will have to also transport some furniture from the Bole area to Bonkoro, because these temporary learning facilities do not come with furniture, so they have to take furniture from the schools that have been closed down to these areas so that they can set the place up for the children. So we are hoping that within the week that will be done also for the children in the La Côte d'Ivoire area.
And do we know whether there's any psychological support then being given to these young ones who have to attempt to reintegrate into learning mode or school mode whilst this conflict rages on? They are not in their comfort zone at the moment, but they still have to learn.
Yes, so there is nothing from now that I am aware of that has to do with psychological support. The only thing available for them is that they are able to access healthcare services, for instance, for some basic health conditions like malaria and others. That is readily available at the camps. Apart from that, you will not get any other service of that sort. But Ellen, I must also admit that these mothers and their children are going through a lot psychologically. Those that are not with their children or husbands, those who have lost their husbands in the conflict, and the fact that most of them have left their businesses and others in the communities and have come to pitch camp at the Solar and Bonkoro areas. Others who are also teachers right now, they have fled the communities where they teach. We are unable, the GES is even unable to locate where they are. We are only hoping that when this conflict is resolved, finally, these teachers and other workers will return to these communities.
And Christopher, very devastating. We know that some mothers and children have actually, been separated at this time. There was a story of one woman with, I think, about 5 children, and she's currently with one or so and cannot find the others. Is this a story that is rampant, families being torn apart from each other?
Yes, exactly so, because for the case of that woman, for instance, when the community was attacked, they were all running for their lives, so they got separated. Fortunately for her, after close to 2 weeks of their separation, the elder one among them who fled with the younger ones brought them back to the solar camp after days of also searching for the mother. A friend told him that the mother was at the solar camp while he was in the Côte d'Ivoire area. So he had to come back to the solar camp with the children, and they reunited with their mother. Now, there are several of such mothers at the Solar and Bonkoro camps. They have been separated because most of them do not have mobile phones. It's difficult for them to reach out to either their children or their parents. Now, you also know that in the Côte d'Ivoire area, you will have to rely on a different network provider to be able to place a call if you are there to the Ghanaian side. And so that is one of the challenges that these people are going through in order to reconnect with their families. Some of them have actually lost their relatives. They are not even aware that they have died. So, you know, these people who died, it's not as if the families were dead and they are killed and they know that this person is dead. So it is. Sometimes you'll be there, you get a phone call that, oh, I've not seen my husband for some time now. Then it's like, oh, he died on this day. Then the trauma begins. Some of them do not know till now. They believe that their husbands have also fled, their children have also fled. They are only waiting. When they get back to the communities, they don't see them. They know that there were also casualties in the conflict.
Devastating, truly devastating. Let's also talk about the root cause of this conflict. What has occasioned all of this displacement and angst? Can you report on any government intervention or policies that are currently being implemented to address the root cause of this conflict as we speak?
So, Ellen, let me just say that the cause of this conflict is not a prolonged land dispute. We all know that the Savannah region is a Gonja land, and the custodian of the land there are the chiefs, the traditional authorities, and the Yagbongra, who is the king of Gonja land, is the owner. He's holding the land in trust of the people. That is an established fact. But you know, there are other settlers, ethnic groups who farm on this land. So a plot of land was allocated to someone to put up a store. Another person came also claiming that land. A confrontation ensued between the two parties. Now the chief of the community sent for the two of them to come for him to resolve the problem. Now the one went and the other did not go. So the chief sent people to go and inform the other person that, look, I am looking for you in my palace so that we solve this problem because I have already allocated this land to party A. Now, when the team got there, a confrontation ensued between the chief's people he sent and the other person who was developing the land. And that was how it happened. Now, the confrontation led to the use of machete on one party. Now, the other party too went prepared and came. There was a reprisal attack and lives were lost. That brought about this whole conflict. Government, on its part, the Interior Minister has visited the place, the Gender Minister, the Savannah Regional Security Council. They have engaged the traditional authorities, that is the Yagbongra and other paramount chiefs as well as sub-chiefs. They have told them to cease fire. Right now, as we speak, yesterday, a 7-member or so committee was inaugurated by the Interior Minister to ensure that they work to bring in lasting peace to the Gbenyiri area and the Bole, the spillover of that conflict in the Bole district. And so for that aspect, some level of engagement, some level meetings have been done. The chiefs have agreed that they are going to smoke the peace pipe. The Boleura, I know, has asked all the sub-chiefs in the communities to go back to their communities so that it will bring hope for the people to be reintegrated. We know that in the Solar area, same is being done. And so some level of engagement are already taking place. Now, the only issue is the fear of the people to get back into their communities. That assurance from government that we are going to protect you when you return into your communities. That is what is lacking. That is what the people are not getting. And that is why it is very difficult for them to move back into their communities. We all know that even the day the IGP visited the area, some communities were still attacked. And so the people fear that, yes, we have the police officers, we have the military, we have other security operatives in the area, but are we safe? These are the questions that the displaced victims are asking. And that is why, till now, they are not thinking about moving back into their community. So government will have to reassure them, give them that hope that everything is in place for you to return to your communities for life to continue.
Fantastic. Christopher, thank you so much. That was, in fact, going to be my last question, and I believe you've answered that for us. I was going to ask about how the displaced persons in the camps perceive the support that they are currently receiving and what more they need. But as you've clearly indicated, they definitely believe that more has to be done. As far as their security is concerned, it's one that we're watching quite keenly. And thank you, Christopher, for that update.
Thank you, Ellen.
Again, that was Christopher Amwako. He's our Northern Regional Correspondent. Let's also invite into the conversation Dr. Peter Etefua. He's the Senior Education Advisor, Africa Education Watch, Edu Watch. Doc, hello, good morning.
Good morning, my dear sister.
Thank you so much for joining us on the program. Hope you're doing well.
By His grace, we are doing well.
We are talking about the unfortunate happenings currently in the Gbenyiri district and the number of persons that have been displaced, and especially school-going children who now are unable to learn. Your initial reactions to what is happening at the moment?
Okay. It's unfortunate that these things are happening. Communities are not in good terms. They are fighting, and it's affecting those who are in school, learners. We pray that these things will come to an end so that children will have their peaceful mind to be in school and to study. When they learn for themselves. They learn for their families, and they learn for the communities where they live, and the nation at large. We all benefit from every individual being in school. If not, these ones will become something else. When you are somewhere, you are sleeping, they will come to attack you. So we pray that these wars come to an end, and then the children can have their peaceful mind to be in school.
Absolutely. Now, we were just speaking with our Northern Regional Correspondent, and he says that some temporary learning centers have been set up for these young ones. I also asked whether or not there's any psychological support being provided at this time, and he said he didn't have any indication of that. What the GES is providing so far, is that enough? And if not, what are the gaps that should be filled? Some teachers have been deployed to the area to support these young ones in their learning, but what more should be done?
Yes. I quite remember when one of my head teachers took some children to school in the northern region, and the unfortunate thing happened. When they crossed the river Uti, and some of them fell into the river and passed on. About 9 of them died. And the police quickly brought in their psychosocial therapists. And they came and really helped a lot, providing the psychosocial support to the parents and then to the children at last, and then the teachers also. It was quite good. So we must learn from here. Teachers who have been to school or have been to colleges of education and the University of Education, almost every teacher will learn a little bit of this. But
right.
that does not mean that they are professional, that they can do that. So we need to train and retrain. Training must be continuous. Professional development learning, some of these programs must be geared towards that, so that we give the teachers who are in the system these kind of skills that they need to help the children that are brought before them. And apart from that, if we have some psychosocial support, as I said, the police already, they have them. So they should send them there to go and provide the support to the people over there, as well as the children. Really, they need that. They are traumatized.
Very much so. And how does that trauma affect the teaching and learning process? Will these students be able to actually assimilate what it is that they're being taught, or will this trauma have a significant impact on their lives moving forward?
It will have a serious impact, a negative impact on teaching and learning. The teacher standing before them is even afraid while he's teaching, he's looking left and right as to whether they are coming to attack them. The child in the classroom is also nervous, also thinking that being in the classroom, they'll become victims. So really, it's a serious thing. It's going to affect them. It's going to affect teaching and learning. And that is why we need to provide this support.
Certainly. Now, Doc, pause for me very quickly. I want us to take a listen to the Savannah Regional Director of Education, Mr. Bright Lao. Then I'll take your reaction to that. I also want us to talk a little bit about the issue confronting WAEC and cheating scandals that seem to be rife every single year. Take a listen for me.
50 schools that we have, 44 schools have been disrupted as a result of the spillover, and this is in about 5 of our circuits, and in all over 5,600 pupils have been affected negatively. You know, the people were running, so they also ran with their parents and guardians. In fact, for the staff, 13 of our staff cannot work presently. They've also gone into hiding as a result of the unfortunate situation. Call something education in emergency. So in collaboration with UNICEF, we've gotten some items from UNICEF headquarters in Accra, so that will provide tents, temporary classroom structures at where the people are camping, so that we will give education to their wards. On our records, we have over 5,000 that ran away from their communities. But at the camps, the numbers of the children will determine the measures we'll put in place. For now, we have canopies from UNICEF that create 4 classroom space, and each of them can take up to 50 learners at a time, so that they even supplied us with learning materials, play equipment, so that we engage them. The difficulty will be segregating them, but when we get to the camps, it is the numbers and the classes that they were before running away that will determine how we place them, so that they will have access to at least element of education while they are running for their life. For last week, we asked the teachers in STK, especially the affected communities, to stay away until we have assurance from DISEC and RESEC that it is safe to go back. But while they are out hiding, we'll make use of them in this education emergency situation, so that they will provide services to the children. Because whatever it is, we are being affected. Already our performance is not that too good. And when we are in the second week of a new academic year. So we need to provide measures that will take care of our learners for now.
What will be your advice throughout this period?
Well, we actually praying that RESEC and DISEC will do everything possible to restore normalcy to our schools and school communities. But our advice will be to the parents, let's stop the fighting. Negotiation should be the first option and not litigation, so that we'll have peace to work. Myself and my teachers, my students were not part of the conflict, but yet we are affected. So when we stop the conflict, we go into negotiation, we can resolve issues amicably rather than resolving to distraction and armed conflict. Out of
So, Doc, you heard there from the Savannah Regional Director of Education. What are your thoughts?
Let me extend greetings to my good brother, Bryce. Good. So I've heard him. What I could make out of it is that these in helter-skelter, and that they have been gathered somewhere at a camp, and therefore we must provide this psychosocial support, as well as continue teaching them. Wherever the children are, they should not be deprived of their study. So we need to segregate them, put them into various classes as they have come from various communities, and then put the teachers there where they are being given their protection, so that they can continue with their study. So whether there is war or not, wherever they have been camped, they must be taught. Teaching and learning must go on. And that is what he put it, that education in emergency, see, EIE, education in emergency, should go on. You must provide means of teaching them. And the children must also learn.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on now and let's talk about WAEC and exam malpractices. The warning bells or the warning alarms are being blown at the moment that if this trend continues, well, public trust in WAEC certificates will begin to erode, and the future credibility of WAEC examinations will be in danger internationally as well. What do you make of that? And really, what do you think, in your expert opinion, is the root cause of exam malpractices that we see year in and year out?
Yes. This has become an albatross on our necks. It's a serious study. You see, over the years, we have sounded this home, drummed this home for those parties, all parties to know that it is not a good thing to have children to pass examination or children to also cheat in examination halls. Yet it keeps on going. And what we are hearing, or in fact, the Director General said it, that if you are ahead and it happens in your school, it means that you are putting down your position. Now, all those involved that have been caught, assisting in one way or the other, must be put behind bars. They should be imprisoned. Imprison them. We are saying, I keep on saying this. They should imprison them.
Imprison, you say?
And then also dismiss them from the profession. If they are teachers, they should dismiss them. If you are a teacher and you don't teach well, your children will fail. You must, as a teacher, you must offer, I call it fast feedback. Fast is an acronym. F stands for frequency. Frequency means the number of times. As a teacher, you must give your children opportunity to practice. The number of times you give them the chance to practice will make them become perfect. Because you said that practice makes perfect. When your children learn and learn, they practice and practice. When they are going to write examinations, you, the teacher, will not want to find ways and means of helping the children to pass. Because we don't teach them well. Because we don't go to school. Because the chamfans sitting under trees, talking politics, instead of us to be in the children often, most of the time, and give them exercises to practice, we don't do. But when they are going to write, to cover our misdeeds, therefore, we want to find the answers for them to write and say, oh, this teacher is good. This is what we are. Also, the children themselves. These days, their hands are always on their mobile phone.
That's
they are
right.
doing TikTok, they are doing whatever, they are not studying. Parents send their children to school, but they don't have time to check whether their children are learning or not. You see, teachers again do not learn. They are not fast. A stands for accuracy. Teachers must learn and learn so that they can teach the accurate and the correct thing. You go to class and you teach anyhow. Now, according to what your mind is telling you, your children will not do well. Again, there are certain specific, the S stands for specific. There is something specific about what we teach, which most teachers do not know. Currently, we have a lot of people standing in the classroom pretending that they are teachers. They are pretenders. They are not teachers.
Doc, you say they are pretending to be teachers. They are not actually teachers. So what exactly are they doing in the classroom?
Yeah, they have been given certificates, all right, but that is not where their heart is. They don't practice it. They just go to the class. Some people say that, for me, I've been teaching this topic over the years. I don't even need to prepare lessons. The moment I take my marker or chalk, I am teaching. How can you be teaching? What about the current trends, things that are changing? Education is not static. It keeps on moving. It keeps on changing. What you knew yesterday may not be the same thing today. So all what we are saying is that the teachers must learn and learn. Know the specific thing. And let me can give you an example.
Right.
No. So we need to do this. The teacher himself must check himself whether he is capable of teaching these children effectively. And when you teach them well, you yourself, you are happy that your child is going to take this exam for people to know that you are a good teacher. Because you are a reflection of the child. See, if your students fail, you, the teacher, has failed. And the parents also want their ones to get good grades. Therefore, at all costs, they must get pay somewhere to get questions for them. And the children know that their parents will pay. Therefore, they won't learn. Because in the end, they will get the questions to write. WAEC, they should also check themselves. There are people inside there who need to be sacked. They need to catch them and sack them. They are not true to the organization. They are destroying the names of WAEC. And then they're invigilated.
Right.
After they're invigilated, they should imprison them. Seriously. They should send them to prison. And if they are teachers, they should lose their job quickly, immediately. Without delay. They should just dismiss them from the profession.
Now, Doc, let's also talk about reforms. We've identified the root cause. We've identified what these problems are. What reforms do you believe are necessary to improve the transparency and the credibility of these examinations? You talk about some stiff punishment. You say imprisonment is necessary, sacking of teachers, and letting them lose their professional licenses, and so on and so forth. What else do we need to do as a people to, curb this canker once and for all?
Thank you. I think we need to allay the fears of learners that when you write one short exams, to determine your fate. We don't have to continue to do that. At a point in time, we hammered home what we call continuous assessment. I mean, even in the university, they don't just write one exam and then they say you got this class.
That's right.
You enter the university, first semester you write, it is there. The second semester you write, then you go to second year and so on and so forth, which we call cumulative GPA. Why can't we do same for these kids so that it will not be only one examination that will determine their fate? Can't WAEC bring some or give us standard questions for, let's say, P2, P4, P6, JHS2, and then maybe the final one, JHS3. And then cumulatively, they gather all these to assess the children holistically. Not only one big short exam, BC, as we are writing. We have come to a stage where we should do the standardized. We have been doing standardized curriculum. Why can't we have this standardized type of examination so that we keep on keep their records as they are moving along the ladder until they complete the JHS? And then I think it would be a good thing. For me,
Certainly.
The reform should be that way.
And Doc, finally, before I let you go, I want to find out how you assess the response of WAEC and also the GES when it comes to issues of exam malpractices.
WAEC has been doing so well, as well as the GES. Whenever they hear about this, they don't say. They gather or set a team, a committee to investigate. First of all, if they are not, when they hear or they get a wink that some kind of malpractice has gone on in a particular school, they will say they have suspended their results, withheld. Their results have been withheld. Then they will go and then set a committee to go into each detailed, do all the necessary nitty-gritties, and then come out to say that the result has been cancelled or now the result has been released. So for that, I salute them. WAEC has been doing that well in that direction. Likewise, GES also do that. And therefore, now that GES says, if you are ahead and there is any mishap in your school concerning the examinations, then your position will be taken away from you. If you are a teacher and you are involved, you will be dismissed. I only pray that the politicians will allow this to work. When somebody is caught and Director General is going to dismiss the person, they will come and say, this is a party, whatever. Leave him. Let's set examples. And I think it will go down well with us. And then these monies will be kept.
Thank you, Doc, so much for your time this morning and for joining us on the program and also lending your expert opinion to this subject matter. Dr. Peter Etefua is the Senior Education Advisor, Africa Education Watch, EduWatch. Let's also connect now with Mr. John Cappy, the PRO of WAEC. Mr. Cappy, hello, good morning.
Good morning.
I hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining us on the program.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We're dissecting some of the woes of WAEC this morning and seeking to, chart the path forward. How does WAEC plan to restore public confidence in the certificates amid these malpractice reports?
Yeah, thanks, and good morning to all your listeners. On our part at the council, we are very much present in the field. We know that we cannot be everywhere at the same time, but then also we, motivate our examiners to ensure that they mention to us exactly where they find cases of malpractice, and then we take a second look at the scripts of those candidates and see if they actually merit any grades at all. If they don't, we cancel. If they do, we go ahead and release the results. So we are working around the clock. It's not an easy task, but we are trying our best.
Certainly. And would you say that the measures that are put in place by WAEC, for example, blacklisting of culprits from partaking in any future WAEC activities, is enough of a deterrent for these individuals?
Well, the issue of malpractice is a multifaceted problem. First of all, we have the candidates themselves, and then we have also those I will call the collaborators. Now, these are teachers, these are our invigilators and supervisors, because the candidates are not allowed to come in with mobile phones. They are not allowed to come with any prepared materials. And the rule is that they are supposed to research thoroughly before entry into any of the examination halls. Now, if these things are done even averagely well, I believe that we'll be able to reduce the issues of malpractice to the barest minimum. But I think that because some of these things are not properly done or done with the connivance of the people who are supposed to be taking care of them, it will become a Herculean task for us all.
Certainly, and as you mentioned, multifaceted indeed. We talk about the role of the GES and also even parents and what their involvement is as far as ensuring that their children do the right thing is concerned. And finally, Mr. Cappy, are there any technological or procedural innovations that WAEC is implementing to curb exam malpractices?
Yes, we work as a sub-regional team, YKS in 5 countries in West Africa. Our big brothers in Nigeria, I call them big brothers because they are far bigger than we are.
Right.
They have started with computer-based testing, where the candidates will go to the examination hall and by a click of a button, they see their questions on the computers in front of them, and then they work and then, go out with the responses. I mean, they would send the responses back. So we have also started, plans are far advanced for us to start on a smaller scale with our small exams, the general and advanced business certificate examination, so that once we pilot that one and it works very well for us, we would go ahead and then replicate same with all the other, the smaller, a little bigger examination as it goes until we get to the perfect stage where we can, use it for the entire population of our candidates who are writing our examinations. Beyond that, we would need the collaboration of all and sundry because if it is possible to have maybe pavilions and some vantage points across the regions, then we can install CCTV cameras where, we can monitor even from here. But these things are all about funds. If the funds are available, we would be able to explore all of these options so that examination of practice become a thing of the past.
Certainly, and Mr. Kapi, I know I said final question, but final question for you this morning. You've got education think tanks like the Educates Africa Institute, the Education Africa Institute, EIA, sending strong warnings about the future credibility of WAEC examinations. How does that sit with you? Is this far-fetched?
Well, it depends on where they are coming from. You don't just condemn these things or wish them away or pretend they don't exist. Obviously, they are coming from a certain angle. And I believe that some of these statements are debatable depending on where you look at the issue from. I believe that with the internal processes that we have to check more practice, even if we don't see them at the time that they happen, I believe that we will be able to a very large extent defend the credibility of the examinations and, for that matter, the certificates that we issue.
Certainly, Mr. Kapi, thank you so much for your time this morning and for speaking with us on the program.
My pleasure.
Again, that was Mr. John Kapi. He's the PRO of WAEC. Time check, it is some 6 minutes past the hour of 9. We pause now for a very quick break. When we come back, there are other matters on the table. Don't go too far.
The winning season is back, but this time I am collecting the wins like